Nearly a year ago, I was here with my friend Lady Virgilia to talk to you about the upcoming Persona 3 Portable port release, with brief shout out to Persona 4 Golden on consoles as well. There was no way at that time that I could have predicted being back here to talk about a Persona 3 remake within a year. As soon as the rumors started of the Persona 3 remake, people have speculated and discussed what it could be, and now we have a mostly clear image. It may not be exactly what many of us were hoping for of a definitive version, but it still looks like a great update to the original with perhaps a surprise or two waiting if a certain theory is true. Persona 3 Reload is an upcoming RPG developed by Atlus and published by Sega. It is a remake of the original Persona 3, and that is crucial to understand. While there are innovations that the subsequent Persona 3 releases, Fez and Portable, introduced that Reload will be following, there is also plenty of content those games had that Reload will not contain. Specifically, Reload does not have the epilogue, the answer from Fez, or the female MC route from Portable. These omissions were the source of plenty of disappointment from fans, but the developers have maintained that their intention was for a base Persona 3 remake. The game has numerous changes and additions. The presentation has been the main target, but also some of the gameplay systems have been brought more into alignment with Persona 5's gameplay style. Whether this makes you more or less excited is of course up to personal preference, but thus far I think each of the changes has made sense at the very least. The game is coming out on February 2nd, 2024 for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC, with it launching day one on the Xbox Game Pass service. Persona 3 Reload is also the first Sega game to up the price tag from $60 to $70. That doesn't kill my interest in the game obviously, but it does limit it, as I'm sure it does for others. Hopefully the game gets some good discounts later for those who don't want to partake at that price point. Plot-wise, Persona 3 Reload follows exactly the setup for Persona 3. You play as a new transfer student to Gekkukoan High. Soon after arriving, the protagonist is thrown into the Dark Hour, the secret 25th hour of the day that most humans are unaware of. Those who are the last line of defense against the shadows who are attacking people and leaving them husks of themselves, a phenomenon known as apathy syndrome. Our protagonist discovers his own persona powers with the use of an evoker, a gun that triggers a character's powers. After this, he joins the specialized extracurricular execution squad in their investigation of Tartarus, the huge tower that appears in place of the school during the Dark Hour. Through this investigation, the group will fight and grow together as they discover more about the Dark Hour, what is causing the surge of shadows, and how to stop the impending doom of their world. On the story front, it seems at least so far that they are following a faithful retelling, but with more interactions one-on-one between the different members of SEES, and more group interactions as well. This is of course more than acceptable for a remake, as the original story is well regarded in all previous forms. However, there is the potential for more. My aforementioned friend Lady Virgilia has been chronicling some of what she noticed across the various trailers and past Persona 3 media that indicates Atlus may be willing to go a bold direction with Reload. Part of my excitement for this game is in fact the possibility that they'll do something different with the story than the previous versions of Persona 3 have. I'm more than happy to accept whatever reality, but if you want to know more about how this game may change things, and don't mind spoilers for the general Persona 3 plot, please check out her videos on the topic. At the bare minimum, Persona 3 has an engaging story with a likable group of characters from very different backgrounds, and seeing them clash and grow is a huge part of the joy of playing Persona 3. Having more of that in Reload is fantastic. I have no doubt that Reload will retain that as an important aspect of the original, and I welcome more opportunities to spend time with these wonderful characters. That doesn't just go for our main party. There are more events with all the social links and more insight into some of the antagonists, which is a much appreciated addition for Reload and will hopefully make this feel like a richer, more complete game overall. Regardless of the other changes that happen, this is an important part of making Persona 3 Reload a worthwhile addition to the Persona 3 catalog. Of course, a discussion of the narrative is incomplete without talking about how it intersects with the gameplay of Persona 3. The main structure of the game is that you are progressing your way through the many floors of Tartarus over the course of a month. Once you reach the full moon of that month, a bigger story-based challenge awaits, and you should have reached a corresponding floor by then to be prepared for the event. Afterwards, more of Tartarus has opened up for you to explore. Tartarus has certainly had an upgrade visually from the original, but the structure still appears to be the same of many consecutive similar floors to proceed through. Shadows lurk around the area and you can take them on along with finding treasures on each level. It appears that other mechanics, such as being able to separate the party to explore a level, will return for Reload, but I also hope the event floors, such as a Floor of Darkness or the Floor of Tough Enemies that give a lot of experience, remain as well. It would be a shame if those weren't included, since that was a big part of varying up the gameplay of exploring Tartarus, since the actual level design wasn't doing the game any favors. Although adding in some things to hit at least is a nice improvement to the procedurally generated levels, which is what we have seen in the Reload gameplay demos. The biggest difference to me, and a most welcome one, is the navigator abilities that Fuka brings to the party, such as preventing enemies from detecting you on a floor. Going through Tartarus before could get very tedious, especially with fighting the same enemies over and over. Fuka's abilities give you new ways to avoid tedium while making her a more important character for gameplay. All of this sounds like a good upgrade for Tartarus, even if the basic structure of the tower is not going to change. For those new to Persona, the game uses turn-based combat with a party of up to 4 members taking on a group of enemies. Your main goal is to figure out an enemy's weakness and hit it to down the enemy. If you down all of them, you get a massive all-out attack that will help finish them off. You can use different weapon attacks or elemental attacks to strike those weaknesses, but your opponents can do the same to you. Combat pretty much resembles what we've come to expect for Persona combat starting with Persona 4. Complete control of your party is the default, but if you want the true Persona 3 gameplay experience, you can always set party members to CPU controlled. That would leave you with just the protagonist to control, but the protagonist has a lot going for him because he is a wildcard, which means that he can swap personas out to take advantage of particular enemy strengths or weaknesses. Reload has also given Persona 3 its own baton pass equivalent with the mechanic shift, allowing another character to follow up on someone else's one more after getting a critical or hitting a weakness. Now, I'm not usually someone who advocates for more difficulty in games, but I am hoping, at least from my own experience, that the enemy AI and difficulty has been adjusted to respond to this immensely useful new tool at our disposal. Overall though, the combat gameplay sticks to the usual Persona flow and formula. Plenty of exploiting weaknesses, all-out attacks, and flashy animations all around. Although I do question why they still call the post-battle minigame shuffle time if the cards no longer shuffle. The other side of the Persona gameplay is of course the social aspect, and the academic aspect. You'll be taking classes some of the time, and you better be prepared to answer some questions, especially you older Persona 3 fans, because they say they're changing up all the questions. Can't rely on your knowledge from previous playthroughs. The time not spent in Tartarus is spent in class learning and growing, and outside of class bonding with your friend, or continuing to grow your social stats. You can bond with your party members in C's, other high school classmates at Gekkukoan, or random people out in the community. You'll get the chance to progress your relationships with the different characters through these social links and gain gameplay advantages with your personas. Unlike the original Persona 3, there is no way to break the social links. However, reversing them, a mechanic not seen in Persona 4 or 5, is still possible. More social events outside of the social links have also been added, especially for the characters that didn't have social links before, see male party members. This addition is especially important as there were times that Persona 3 felt a little bare bones on the social side of things. Your social stats can only get so high, and you need other things to do, especially late in the game. It is still unsure though how the romance in Persona 3 Reload will be addressed. In the original game, any girl you got up to a certain rank in the social link with would become a romance. There were no platonic options, and that introduced the jealousy mechanic where you could reverse a social link if you were caught by one girlfriend out with another. I'd love it if platonic options have been added, but we're yet to have anything confirmed one way or the other on that front. One thing I also hope is that the schedule of characters is a little more open. I don't want it to be easy to max out everyone's social links, but I definitely want our windows for certain characters to be a little wider. As for the personas themselves, I haven't seen anything that indicates that there's going to be much new for Persona 3 Reload. I anticipate the same usual routine with the Velvet Room and creating numerous personas. I did also see though that the quest with Elizabeth, the Velvet Room attendant, seemed to remain, and that's always nice because more time with Elizabeth is important. I also expect, but haven't seen yet, whether the quests that she could give outside of the events will also remain. Basically, my assumption is if I haven't heard anything, I expect it to be pretty much like it was in the base Persona 3 game. Presentation-wise, everything starts with the visuals, which look amazing. The game definitely still has that same style and feel as Persona 3 while maintaining a distinct visual identity. It adopts the blue color palette while going to a different shade of blue. The characters and locations look fantastic, and there are also so many great details with character outfits, character rooms, and the like. The animations are exactly the right blend of over the top and weighty to make battles hit hard, and the outside of battle animations seem nice as well. It helps make the world feel more lived in. I think the ending all-out attack animations are especially nice as they evoke the different ways each character conducts themselves in battle and their general personality. Also on the visual front, the UI just looks fantastic. The original game was still easy to navigate and had some good information presentation, but Atlus has turned this into an art form over the years, and I'm glad Persona 3 Reload got that upgrade. Persona 3 Reload has so much more useful information on screen at once while not once distracting from the important stuff on screen. No more having to look through menus to be sure about weaknesses and the like. Plus, those menus and the screen transitions, mwah, perfecto. Musically, the tracks are being rearranged along with some new original tracks being added as well. While the rearrangements all sound nice, I'm not sure I would call that a necessary change. The original soundtrack holds up quite well, but so long as they don't mess with things too much, I'm sure it'll be fine. The new tracks though, oh boy am I hyped for these. It's Going Down Now sounds great, along with all the other new tracks we've been able to pick out so far. I can't wait to hear what else the game has to surprise us with musically. One of the big reveals when the game was announced was the almost complete recast of the English cast, the one exception being Tara Platt as Elizabeth. Having listened to the new and old voice actors talk about the roles and heard them in the roles, I'm fully on board. For obvious reasons, it was unlikely that the full English cast was going to return anyways, but this recast was still a bold choice, and I think the new VAs sound great. For those who don't like to listen to the dub though, the Japanese cast are all back for this game, so there is still continuity there. The last quality of life feature that I'm excited to see is the fast travel update to make traveling around the map a lot easier to do specifically and quickly. A nice, necessary addition to what already looks and sounds like an amazing experience. Persona 3 Reload already looks like a great update visually and mechanically to the original Persona 3, allowing many players who didn't want to play Persona 3 Portable to give this game a try. There's still potential for even more with the game holding its cards close to the chest, but we shall have to see when it finally does come out. For now though, I'm still excited either way to give Persona 3 Reload a try and see how things develop. What other new things are they hiding from us? What old moments are going to feel so impactful in the new style? Are you planning to pick up Persona 3 Reload? If so, are you a new fan or an old fan of the games? I imagine there's a variety of opinions on how things are shaking up, but I'm mostly seeing excitement leading up to release, and I hope that stays the case. Let me know what you think in the comments after giving the video a like, and subscribe if you want to keep up with the channel. Have a great day, and happy gaming.